Okay, I believe we're going to get going. And welcome to Delivering Confidence, brought to you by Trinfo. Um, One of the missions I believe that I am tasked with as a company, as a CEO and owner, is trying to provide as much information as I possibly can, especially in times of need. And I would describe what we're going through right now as times of need. So everybody's trying to figure out how to stay afloat in our industry and take care of our clients and our customers to the very best of our ability
Mhm.
while staying safe. My name
Okay.
is Betsy Craig, and I am the CEO and founder of
Yeah.
Trinfo. Trinfo is a food service consultancy that does nutrition
Okay.
information,
All right.
menu labeling, um, allergy training, food handler, food safety training, and kitchen audits.
Okay.
So, what we need to look at today is how can we deliver more confidence to the consumer nationally by using what we know to be best practices in food safety. Here in front of you, you see on your screen, and please speak up if you cannot see it. You see on your screen a list of many, many brands across the country that are now obviously going to takeout and delivery versus in dining. We have to shut down all the dining rooms. We have to flip the chairs on the tables, clean it, and leave it empty to help stop the spread of the virus. As of yesterday afternoon, this was the list provided by Nation's Restaurant News of the brands that have publicly gone to that mission. And I have a couple that are highlighted in red here and a couple that are highlighted in black. The ones in black are brands that have just completely shuttered their doors for the time being. And the ones in red are the brands that have come up with alternate ideas to entice consumers to use them and to purchase from them as well. Now, I will say there are folks on this call I know that are doing takeout and carry out and DoorDash and curbside, and keep doing what you're doing with that. I just want to highlight a couple that are shown here. Both Chuck E. Cheese and Peter Piper Pizza, which is tough to say, have come up with the concept of doing curbside delivery, including childhood birthday parties. Different thought, different idea. Delivering it safe is a wonderful idea. They're also putting things in their to-go packages to entice consumers to come back in once they are able to open up. And Golden Corral, which is, as you know, a buffet location, is doing something they call comfort food of the day. So they are enticing consumers to use them over others because they want folks to feel comfort foods, meatloaf, pot roast, items like that. And finally, I found this really interesting that the New York State Liquor Authority has agreed to temporarily allow restaurants with on-premise liquor licenses to deliver alcohol to offer it for takeout. Previously they were allowed to do beer, but as we know, the margins on alcohol are very, very big, and it's one of the areas I know we're facing some of the worst downturns. So it's quite interesting what New York State did there. Let's jump a little bit into the food safety side. The food safety must respond, how food safety must respond. So I asked before we began if anybody else was able to attend the briefing yesterday, and I luckily was able to attend the FDA briefing. The briefing was for food stakeholders. It was on the COVID-19 virus, and it was recorded, and it is online now. So that is fabulous. You can go online to the fda.gov/food/workshops, meetings, webinars. And if you want to search in there, type in COVID-19, and yesterday's recording will pop up. I will let you know that we had 3 leaders from the FDA on the call. We had Frank Yanis, we had Michael Rogers, and Dr. Susan Maines spoke. And the FDA, the one thing that was abundantly clear on the call was the FDA is pushing to local and state officials for guidance for individual locations. In other words, the FDA is not putting a blanket statement on the country as far as food safety changes. Also, I will let you know the very first thing that was said by Mr. Yanis was that there is no evidence whatsoever that this virus comes in any way, shape, or form from food. It doesn't come from a particular type of food. It doesn't come from food that went bad. It's not foodborne. And getting that message out is quite important, especially to consumers out there. So I just really wanted to make sure to get that stated right away. So I really wanted to go through the 5 things to know and be mindful of when it comes to food safety with the COVID virus among us. Prior to the virus, temperature was always, paramount. Everybody's paying attention to temperatures and times, hot holding, cold holding, how long can it sit in the danger zone? It really shouldn't be in the danger zone. I mean, we've always looked at temperatures. Today, with COVID-19, we're looking at temperatures from a whole different place. I stopped last night to buy dinner at a single proprietor's restaurant, Italian place here in Fort Collins, Colorado. And I bought way too much food the way I always do. And I walked in and I said, do you guys have any protocol or plans in place to take temperatures of your employees? And the gal looked at me like I was a little crazy, but this is what I'm recommending to anybody that will listen. And that is acquire one of these thermometers that's a touchless thermometer and use it for every employee coming in to prepare food that is takeaway food. And then get really clear about what your policy is for that. So in other words, make sure that you're sharing that with your consumer. What your policy is for sick time for your employees, what your new policy might be for sick time, especially based on some of the support we're seeing coming out of DC, and time off and sick time and way to cover that for employees. Sharing what your emergency paid sick leave is, if any. And then finally, maybe going even so far as to share that you're temping every employee when they come in halfway through their shift and then at the end of their shift. The consumer needs to know that this next level of safety is being taken, because I think the country as a whole is just starting to get paranoid. Well, that is all except for like Florida, where they can't come off the beach right now. But mostly people want to know they're going to be safe. And they want to know the people preparing their takeout food from your establishment are healthy. So this is a Braun. I actually, in front of me, have a Walgreens thermometer, inexpensive. If you can find one now, great. If not, maybe one of your employees will share theirs from home. It can be wiped down in between use, obviously. Things to take into consideration. The second area I want to focus on when it comes to dealing with COVID-19 and extra safety precautions are sanitation. Sanitation, protection from contamination. So clean gloves, clean uniform, clean apron. You are your floor, tables, and bathrooms. So in other words, you being the person walking out from an establishment to deliver the food, especially if you're doing curbside or people are walking in to pick up, how that person looks, presents, whether or not your whole building is clean. Like forever in our business, we've been judged by the bathrooms. Think in terms of we're the bathroom. I mean, we are the only thing somebody's going to see about how clean we look. So nobody should be delivering food curbside with an apron that has any kind of residue on it, or a chef coat that has any kind of residue whatsoever. Everybody should be having gloves on their hands when we're delivering the food. Whether or not the gloves work to keep it more safe and more sanitary curbside, that's up for debate. I was listening yesterday to a doctor who was saying, when we put gloves on, we falsely believe we're safer, and so then we might actually touch our faces more. However, it is perceived and transmitted to be more safe and clean. The third bullet here is containers are closed, stickers are used to secure covers. So I have been speaking about how to make food safe for delivery for a couple of years. And one of the things I always talk to is using stickers to close your container. So your clamshell containers can be closed, but stickering it so that the consumer is the one that opens it up is an extra layer of comfort for the consumer. Next, I wrote, not every restaurant has stickers with their name on it or something they can literally just go ahead and start using today. But we almost all have mailing labels or stickers that we use for, file folders in an office. Something as simple as that with a safety message printed on them delivers confidence to the consumer. The customer I was with last night, or the restaurant I was with last night, I was talking to them about this, and I said, how about it, you just write safety first, we got you. Something simple, a simple and easy message. So they know that the food was packaged at the line and is now secure all the way to their table. And then finally, I really wanted to add this in, and this seemed like the best option. And this came off of the FDA's FAQs. The FDA has a fabulous FAQ section on handling this outbreak and emergency, and you see the URL at the bottom right. But we're so fixated on Purell hand sanitizer and cleansers that people are getting others sick by using cleansers that are not edible, that are not recommended to be used in a food establishment. They're bringing cleaning products from home, or they're mixing chemicals that shouldn't mix. So really be mindful of that. Again, it's meant out of a mission to keep people safe and clean. However, it absolutely still can cause a problem if the wrong chemicals are used. To reduce food safety risks, when we're talking about restaurateurs, you could do things along the lines of meal kits. Think in terms of a menu item that could be cooked at home. Part of what I did last night when I went to that particular restaurant was I went ahead and I picked up lasagna, brought it home and cooked it off here. People don't mind doing that at all. Think in terms of all of those meal kits we're seeing that come to people's home that are out there. Dessert kits, kids are bored. So helping families reduce the boredom of their children with safe dessert kits are a wonderful resource and option for you. Kits can be really, really simple, but they must be labeled. We need them labeled because we don't know what allergies we might have out there. I was looking at some of these dessert kits. I have a brand up in New York that we work very closely with, and they do these cookie trays. It's a simple cookie tray with simple allergen-free cookies. Those are plastic bags and rubber bands of frosting and a small little silo cup of sprinkles. The bottom line is they're just a couple of dollars to make, and you can give it away after the first order. You can charge a couple bucks, or you can charge up to, I've seen this be charged up to 35 bucks for a larger amount of cookies, if you will. However, it's another way to increase check averages at the door and get more on that ticket to increase sales, which we have seen drop by anywhere from 40 to 80%, depending upon who you're talking to. So the next area I want to talk about is labeling. So we do menu labeling for a number of clients that are on this call. And we love doing your nutritionals that end up on your menus. And we will do that for you forever, believe me. And some of you have been with us for many, many years. I am here to offer you, if you're a current client of ours and you want fact panels, you want those nutrition labels to put on your food, we will prepare those and send those electronically over to you, and you just have to print them. So if you want to be the restaurant that not only delivers a great sub, but delivers a sub with all the information the consumer wants, reach out to us. If you're our partner, we're doing this for you at no charge. We want you to have this to give it to the consumer, to give them another level of confidence. Here's what I know. Providing how much fat is in a sub doesn't fight against COVID-19. But what it does is it communicates to your customer that you're down in the details with them and you want to give them every piece of information you possibly can. Just like identifying allergens and dealing with special diets. So the big 8 allergens, tagging those. on your food, tagging anything that might not contain. So by this, I mean a lot of pizza shops in this country have 0 nuts in the building, no peanuts, no tree nuts, unless they're using pine or an almond or a walnut on a salad. Most Italian pizzerias have no nuts. Promoting that you have no nuts gets a customer in that needs you, that has kids at home with food allergies. We've watched food allergies go from 15 million food allergies in 2011 to 32 million food allergies in 2017. Those people are home trying to decide what to feed their whole family, and they have to have a place that accommodates those allergens. So jumping out there and saying we can handle your allergens is huge, especially if you know you can. So label, label, label. The next area I want to talk about is touchless, contactless delivery. And I apologize, I probably could have used a different word for that title of that. But the bottom line is there are people that want to order food from you and they don't want to know you touched it. Now, you and I know you had to make it and you had to put it in a box or a container or a bag, but they want you to come in and drop that food somewhere predetermined. And then you're gonna step away and stand quietly off to the side, a safe distance away, and watch as the consumer then goes and picks it up. Can you do that through your current app? Can you do that through comments on your order up? Can you encourage your drivers to do that so people are more comfortable? That level of, we promote touchless delivery, we promote contactless delivery. And a little blurb explaining is another layer of safety for them. Along those lines, prepayment and pre-tipping, allowing people to pay online or pay without them having to hand a card to the person at the restaurant and take the card back. Every place we're touching things together is a place that the consumer is anxious. If you're using third-party deliverers, how does the diner know no one has touched the food? So I've been talking about this for a couple of years because of food allergies, but here it is now with a more important reason. And that we go back to using multiple containers. Now is not the time to be conservative on our containers. Now is the time to overkill it more than under. And I wrote down here the frill pick example. So one of the things we do and teach in AllerTrain, and this works really well here now, if you get a diner that calls in with a special dietary need, going ahead and asserting to them that their meal will be prepared specially for them, but because it has a special request, because it needs to be allergy-free, that you will include a frill pick in their meal, say at a sandwich or a gluten-free burger that also doesn't contain any dairy or whatever the item might be. Using a simple frill pick to identify their meal as special, and then packaging the meal with the frill pick included, and then giving the consumer the confidence to know when they open their food, it's going to still contain that frill pick, lets them feel comfortable eating from your establishment, and they will be back, especially as we're in this period of time, anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, at least from what I'm hearing, where people are going to be turning to restaurants, your restaurant, to help feed them safely. So do you have a detailed crisis plan? Do you deliver to healthcare facilities? Do you have an owner or manager's business card at your location that you can include in each and every delivery if they want to follow up or ask questions? One of the things in your crisis plan, and I'm starting to see this, I've seen it twice now, where large brands are publicly announcing what their crisis plan is, what their coronavirus plan is, letting the consumer know that every one of the XYZ restaurants, all 25,000 in the country, are going to follow these steps and spelling out exactly what each of those steps are. So you're getting the reach of helping others. I say adopt a facility. Each one of your locations that's staying open and doing curbside, is there a hospital nearby that you can start to feed? I have seen just amazing things with the folks at Sweet Greens. And for my DC folks that are on the call, you know Sweet Greens well. It started there in downtown DC, two guys and a gal. I actually taught them allergen when they first started their brand. They came out and said free food for hospital and medical personnel. It is blowing up the internet. Just this post got 25,000 plus likes when I screenshot it a couple days ago. So it's amazing to see. It was on Sweet Greens was featured on the Today Show yesterday morning about what they're doing. One of the Chick-fil-A's up in Vancouver, Washington, just took 1,000 meals into a hospital up there. Huge social media, huge love back to the brand, which is great. They also did the right thing and fed folks. And the bounce to their brand, as always, is going to increase sales within that brand. So finally, let me help. There is me with a hairnet on in a college. But call for your free food handler or allergen. So we have both food handlers and we have allergen. So you want to send people through to make sure they're trained up? Absolutely. If I can help you come up with your crisis plan, I'm all in. If you want help to, just have a second set of eyes walking through it, please, just let me know. I would encourage anybody to open up their line if they have a question. This is my first time using Zoom, so thanks for hanging with me on this. It's pretty hard to navigate, but in this day and age, I just want to make sure that we have all the information available. And let me go here, same in DC. Alcohol sales, delivery. So is alcohol being allowed to be sold in DC? That's wonderful. Awesome, thank you for the feedback. Great. Any questions on any of what I've presented? I would encourage you to reach out and ask me or my staff if we can help in any way. And I will leave you with one thing, and those that made the webinar, I'm going to go ahead and email this to you. There was a gentleman from the industry who wrote the 25 recommendations to successfully shift to a new normal. It was produced 2 days ago by Paul Segreto. I don't want to make a hot mess of his name, but in there are just amazing ideas on how to succeed and get used to the new normal for the next couple weeks, at least until we know it's done. So it doesn't look like we have any